If one studies our Trimurtis and one focuses on Mother Lakshmi, she is constantly pressing the legs of Bhagavan Vishnu. If one studies how Mother Parvati came to be wedded to Lord Shiva, she went through a series of transformations. To one point, her name was Aparna. Aparna means without leaves. That she even gave up eating food and she was only resorting to breathing in regards to her offering to Lord Shiva. With all of our Trimurtis, they're always taking from their Devis. For Lord Vishnu to preserve, he keeps taking that wealth from Mother Lakshmi. This is what it symbolizes by her pressing his legs. The austerities that Mother Parvati went through shows that she's taking, Lord Shiva's taking those efforts from her. And if we study our own lives, we will see that our Devas are always taking from the Devis. And this is not a motivational talk. This is not. This is all scriptural based, this is all logic based and experience based. I think about how much I take from Sheila. I take all of her time and give it to all of you, and it's because of her support. So I see the reality of this statement. When we understand and appreciate that this is our role, this is what the director has asked us to play, then we begin to appreciate the responsibilities that come with that. And instead of saying, why me, I start thinking, why not me? What a blessing that Bhagavati thinks I'm capable of this. Remember, in many centers we've talked about wellness through work. And one of the 3 principles is, the more work you do, the more work you will be given. So the fact that you do so much work in various ways shows that you're good at it. If I'm a poor basketball player, why would people pass me the ball? But if I'm passed the ball all the time, it means that I'm doing something good with that ball. We are studying Medha Suktam within Mahanarayana Upanishad because Mahanarayana Upanishad and Medha Suktam cover a lot of subjects in our day-to-day affairs. And some of the highlights which we've covered so far, prayer is a priority. And it's beautifully started with. Another is that change the subject. Change the subject of our thoughts, our words, our deeds. They did a study through the CBC. The music that a 12-year-old listens to goes on to affect who they become 12 years later. What is going through here? What subject is going through this channel? Change the subject of our deeds as well. In some of the question and answer sessions, we talked about it's okay to outgrow one's friends. It's okay to outgrow one's family too that are not walking in the same direction. It is not with bitterness. That's why I said it's okay. We talked about how it's our role to be strong because so many are depending on us. We are the basement of a home. Often we're treated like that, but without the basement, that home there cannot be any solidarity to that. It has to be strong. Is that 50 or 100? We should also make it for every ring it goes up to. And then we focus on spending quality time with family. The key word there is quality time. And that is our first role and responsibility as mothers. These are the subjects we've covered are all opportunities to change. We're already doing this, but the more we engage in this, the more we will realize our divine strength. The word yoga, in a very simple way, means change. If I want to practice yoga, these are some ways to do that. And these are all ways to reveal who we are. We began on Friday evening talking about how we've forgotten who we are. These are means on how to know who we are. Before we began the second paragraph yesterday, we talked about the importance of the intellect. When we pick up the newspaper today, the magazines, listen to the news, it is frightening to be exposed to what's happening. And this is the first pada of Kali Yuga, meaning the first quarter of the Dark Age. It will become 4 times more intense by the time Kali Yuga is complete. The intellect is our ticket out. Get realized and get out, or be ready for more intensive suffering. This is the way that the world is moving. Some of us went to see Man of Steel yesterday, and it's a highly destructive movie. Good movie, positive message, but a lot of destruction. And all of the previews were about the world ending and zombies taking over. Every movie's about that. Our tolerance for destruction keeps on growing. Like, we need more destruction to be in tune with entertainment as such. Small signs of Kali Yuga. But they're right in our face. The intellect is a ticket out. And so in the first line, we prayed to Indra, we prayed to Saraswati Devi, we prayed to the Ashwini Kumaras for intellectual strength. To all of these parties, we need intellectual strength. And all 3 of these are prayed to because repetition is important. This is a singular focus. We need intellectual strength. We are strong in here with the intellect. But once we leave here, the signal starts breaking up. Almost like that Verizon commercial, right? The bars are high here. You leave here, the bars go down then. This is what happens. And in that second paragraph, we explored how to be with people. And we focused on plea, pray, lead, engage, accept. This is a vision on how to live. We should ask ourselves, what is our vision right now? Because if our vision is not universal, we won't live universally then. It will be about me rather than about we. A daughter-in-law went to her mother's house. A daughter went to her mother's house. She's married now. And they sit in the kitchen, and the mother says, "What's on your mind?" And the daughter begins, my children are growing up, so different kinds of problems are going on. We're having financial difficulties keeping up with our expenses. And she's narrating all of this, that it seems like every time I solve a problem, 2 more problems come up. And the mother is just silently listening to this. The mother gets up, takes 3 pots out, fills them with water, puts them on the stove to heat. When the water starts boiling, in one pot she puts a handful of carrots, in another a few eggs, and another one some coffee beans. Lets them boil. She comes and sits down. The daughter is continuing to vent, to cry, to complain. After some time, she asks the daughter, "Can you please take those items off the stove and put them in bowls?" Carrots, eggs, coffee beans. And she asks, "What do you see here?" And this daughter, in her closed mind, "What do you mean, what do I see here? You put these in here." Think more clearly. Those carrots, which were hard, firm, strong, when they went into that boiling water, when they were taken up, became flimsy, weak, malleable. Those eggs, which were hard outside but soft inside, when faced with that pressure, that temperature, that condition, turned hard inside too. Those coffee beans, which were fragrant before, when put under that adverse conditions, those challenges, became more fragrant and spread that fragrance all around. We all face pressure, temperature, adverse conditions. But we can be like the carrot that was hard and became weak, or the egg that was soft but became bitter, or that coffee. But this is what's going to happen. Let me be fragrant. Let me spread that fragrance too. This is what plea can bring to us. We can raise ourselves and raise others as well. In Alpharetta, we did a satsang on one has to raise oneself to raise a family. If one is not raising themselves, they cannot raise a family then. Let us chant Medha Suktam, and as we're chanting Medha Suktam, this is our last discourse, our last opportunity to chant together. Let us focus on internalizing these words, the message we now know. Om Medha Devi Jushamana Naagad Vishwachi Bhadra Sumanasya Mana Tvaya Jushta Nudamana Duruktaan Brihadvadema Vidate Suviraha Tvaya Jushta Rishir Bhavati Devi Tvaya Brahma Gata Shri Rutatvaya Tvaya Jushtas Chitram Bindate Vasusano Jushaswadravino Namede Medhama Indro Dadatu Medham Devi Saraswati Medhame Ashwina Bhubhava Dattam Pushkarasraja Apsara Suchaya Medha Gandharve Shuchayan Manaha Devi Medha Saraswati Sama Medha Surabhir Jushata Guswaha Ama Medha Surabhir Vishwarupa Hiranyavarana Jagati Jagamya Urjaswati Payasa Pinvamana Sama Medha Supratika Jushantam Mai Medham Mai Prajam Mai Agnistejo Dadatu Mai Medham Mai Prajam Mai Indriyam Dadatu Mai Medham Mai Prajam Mai Suryo Brajo Dadatu Om Hamsa Hamsaya Vidmahe Paramahamsaya Dhimahi Tanno Hamsaf Prachodayat Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are on the second line of the second paragraph, and here we pray to the Apsaras and the Gandharvas. The Apsaras and Gandharvas. Who are the Apsaras? The Apsaras are the divine dancers, the celestial dancers, the Devic dancers who are all in heaven, and they have supersensory skills. They're the best dancers in this universe. The Gandharvas are the celestial musicians, and again, supersensory skills when it comes to hearing, singing, etc. They're the best musicians in all of these 14 worlds. Why are we praying to them? Because we want what they're capable of. The way they excel in music or in dancing, we want that same skill set, but in the direction we are going. This is not to pray to become a musician or a dancer. This is not what we come in Devi retreat. It is to get that courage. For someone to come on stage like many of you did today requires courage. It requires clarity. Despite all of that sweat and heat and pressure to keep moving. It requires concentration too. How much training goes in for such a short performance? A lady had once met Picasso just in the market and said, Picasso, can you please paint me a picture? Draw me a picture. So she had a notepad, she gave it to him, and he quickly put something together in 30 seconds and gave it to her and said, that'll be $10 million. And she said it only took 30 seconds. But he said it took a lifetime to prepare how to do that. Right? This is what comes when we highlight the Apsaras and the Gandharvas, that we want this courage, clarity, and concentration for our direction in life. Whether as a homemaker, whether as a professional, whether a daughter, a sevika, we want the same. And this is why many dancers and musicians pray to Saraswati Devi. She has a veena in her hand, correct? That is one of the most refined instruments. Not a lot of people can play the veena. She has the Vedas. Not a lot of people can study the Vedas. She has the Japamala. This is indicating this refinement, that these skills are needed. One of the questions that came up yesterday is, how do I know what is my purpose? My kids have a job here, but they want to go over here, but I'm encouraging them to stay here. What sport do I put them in? Where do I go for myself and for my children? In other words, how should I live my life? How to live one's life will only come when we know who we are. When I sit in a car and just start driving, where do I get then? Nowhere. But if I know where I need to go, I can get there then. We have to learn to know who we are. Know thyself. When I know who I am, if we take a corporate example, when I have a job description, a job title, then I have a job description. No job title, what am I supposed to do in this corporation? Who are you? When we know who we are, we will know where to go. So the question is, how do we get to know who we are? And it starts with us, then it can start with anyone else. Number one, spend time with people who know who they are. They went through the same crisis as you and I did that we're going through right now, an identity crisis. In the art of contemplation, Puja Gurudev says, the role of the guru is to raise the standard of the shishya. That he or she was like that too, but he or she raised themselves, hey, you can do it too. That's what a guru does in one's life. They show them that this is real. Spend time with those who have this passion, this purpose, this lust for life, that I don't want to sleep. I want to sleep less so I can do more. Guruji says, work doesn't tire us, lack of love of work tires us. We don't love what we do. We don't love life, which is why we spend so much time escaping it through alcoholism and drug use and sleeping, excessive sleeping, etc. If you go to a university, why during exam period, everyone is eating or not eating? Or extreme measures, because they don't want to study. So let me distract myself. Spend time with people who know who they are. Number two is introspect. Find out what makes you happy. Find out what confuses you. Find out who you are. Introspect. Before you all came this morning, you looked in the mirror, didn't you? And you're all thinking, you didn't look in the mirror, you should have. We all looked in the mirror to prepare our bodies for this assembly, but did we prepare our minds? Did we follow through with our puja, our japa, our reading, whatever it may be? And if not this morning, did we go to sleep on time? Again, preparing the mind for today. Did any of you wake up at 4 a.m. and talk instead of last night? See, we know the body, but we don't know the deeper aspects of us. We know the tip of the iceberg, but we don't know the depth of the iceberg. Introspect. Introspection will change the course of one's life fully. Swamiji and I were talking. When Swamiji and Vilasniji, etc. were speaking, I was like, oh, this is so great. I don't want to give these discourses. I just want to listen to them. And Swamiji was saying the same thing, as one continues to study, one wants to stop sharing. And not out of selfishness, but one just wants to introspect more. Not be outside so much. Really, that's the demand of, our Guru Parampara. They don't want to do it either. They do it for us. Think, what's there to speak about? If one is tuning into non-duality, who to love? We're all the same. Who to serve? But they come down for you and I. Imagine not wanting to do this, but still doing it so lovingly, patiently. Same questions again and again and again. Oh, good question. Oh, I never heard that one before. So much love. And the third way on how to know who we are, experience. It's as simple as that, experience. When someone dies, when we lose someone who we love or are concerned for. I'm just going to connect this to that. There are 3 ways to let go of that loss. Number 1, expression. Cry, hug, talk, be by yourself. Just express it. Let it all out, in other words. Number 2 is knowledge. That the body has died, but nothing else. The mind continues, etc. And number 3, and why I'm sharing this, is time. Time is a healer, as they share. In a relationship, when one breaks out of a relationship, in any which way, a job, neighborhood, school, city, it hurts the most because we only have memories of this. But with time, we create new memories, and so we're able to let go of the old memories. So experience helps us know who we are. Okay? In the 3rd line now, we chanted, Devim Saraswati Medha. And this knowledge, this Medha, is Devi, which means it's divine. Saraswati Mata, please give us this divine knowledge. And because it's divine, it manifests as Vedic culture. So I want this divine knowledge, and divine knowledge manifests as Vedic culture. Where do the Vedas come from? Not from you and I. They're revealed. It's called Narayana Vakya, the breath or the words of Bhagavan Narayana. It is the divine knowledge, and it manifests for you and I as Vedic culture. What is Vedic culture? Listening to Vishnu Sahasranama in the morning, touching our elders' feet, talking to Swamiji in 3rd person, etc., etc. This is all part of Vedic culture. Why should we follow Vedic culture? It makes us stronger. Swami Ishwarananda has shared, if we don't wake up with a purpose every morning, the world takes over. But when I have a purpose, I am strong. Guruji has shared it in a bigger way. If we don't stand up for something, we fall for everything. Vedic culture is like a backbone. Hanumanji, our Balavar students study the spiritual backbone of Hanumanji. This is our backbone, is Vedic culture. What does Vedic culture do? It guides us. Puja Swami Chinmaya has said, freedom is not doing what you like. That's freedom. I want to take another roti, but I'm not going to. That's my freedom. We often take it the other way. My freedom is I can have as many rotis as I want. I hope none of you were like that this weekend. See the difference between what the nation is teaching us. Focus on your rights. I have a right to bear arms. I have a right to freedom of speech, etc., etc. In Vedic culture, you don't have that right. Be quiet. Practice Mona. It's about duties. It's about responsibilities. And we think, hey, that's not freedom. It is freedom. But we have to think about it more. Vedic culture brings discipline into one's life. Benjamin Franklin has shared, the person who cannot follow, the person who cannot obey cannot command. If I don't know how to follow rules, I can't encourage other people to follow rules either. So we want divine knowledge. We want that Vedic culture to be brought into our lives. So we live a more disciplined life. And we have to be vigilant that this is Vedic culture and not just culture. In the many cities that I travel to, I hear about the Kannada Sangha, Gujarati Samaj, Agrawal Samaj, all of these, Telugu Association, etc., etc. When people immigrated here from various parts of the world, they formed these organizations for a sense of community. Good. It brings strength. But if one doesn't grow that community, it actually chokes one then. The way Ramakrishna Paramahansa puts it, when a sapling is growing, you need to put a fence around that. And so animals don't eat it, humans don't kick it. But if that fence is not removed, when that sapling grows, that same fence cuts into the trunk of the tree and kills it. how much importance we only give to our state instead of what happened to Bharatiya? What happened to being a human being? What happened to being empathetic to animals and plants? But I'm doing this. This is enough. That's culture, not Vedic culture. Bharatanatyam comes from religion. All of our bhajans come from religion. Once we extract religion from it, the fence is choking us. When we have religion in there, it's true then. So this is not just culture. And now everyone is cultured, but who's religious? There's no substance. So it has to be this Vedic culture. When we have this Vedic culture, it will spread like fragrance. And that's why this word that is used is surabhihi. This disciplined living, this disciplined loving will spread like fragrance. This is the real gift we can give to ourselves and others, is to believe in ourselves and to believe in others. With indiscipline, we don't believe in ourselves, which is why I can't do it. When I live a disciplined life, I believe I can do it. And then I'm capable of believing in others. If I cannot befriend myself, I cannot be a friend to you then. If I don't have faith in myself, I cannot have faith in you, in God, in anyone. When we were studying Vivekji, Guruji shared a very simple point, but a heavy-duty point. He says, if you lose faith in the world, fine. You lose faith in God, fine. You lose faith in Guru, fine. You lose faith in yourself, not fine. No one can really help you build that other than yourself. This divine knowledge that we are asking for helps us to be disciplined, helps us to believe in ourselves. Roger Bannister, first person to run 4-minute mile. Until then, no one had done it. When he did it, in a few weeks, many people ran the 4-minute mile. Why? It's not like they trained more in just a few weeks. They found cool shoes. Until then, no one believed they could do it. They didn't have the discipline in mind. Discipline in body everyone had, but they didn't have the discipline in thinking. When he showed them how to be disciplined in thinking, everyone started doing it too. So believe in yourself. Swami Vivekananda has shared, the only atheist is the one who doesn't believe in himself or herself. We are Ananda Swarupa. If I don't believe that, then I am an atheist. There is no other atheist other than the non-believer of oneself. Believe. So with this third paragraph complete, the two main themes that we explored is know thyself, and I gave some tips on how to do that. And we studied on disciplined living. Now when it comes to disciplined living, I can't get into the details of that. And everything we're doing now, do the opposite. That's disciplined living. Some ways to think about starting is to sleep earlier. Eat less, drive slower. Those are some ways to bring discipline into our thinking. When we stay up too late, it's too much time in tamas. In the morning, it's the sattvic period of the day. To eat less. And a lot of people's homes, they have a lot of those tacky signs, 10 things to do in your life, or 100 things to do before you die, blah, blah, blah. I think they're tacky because they're motivational. They're not inspirational. They lack that depth. But one I saw really caught my eye. Rarely do we regret under-eating. We always regret overeating, but keep doing it. But under-eating we don't regret, that's why we don't do it. We love to do things that we regret. The people we're supposed to care for the most are the people we get angry at the most. It's like a game that we play to make life more dramatic. In the Masamadhi camp in Los Angeles, they were selling shirts that said, drama outside, Rama inside. We create that drama, especially with our spouses. Like we get angry at them even though we're not angry. Just, Flavor things up. Why? We're so sadistic like that. Just let it be. We shift to the third paragraph, and here what we say is, Mam Medha. That please come to me, now that you come to me. And I hope now we are slowly concluding our retreat that you feel that Saraswati Devi is beside you. Not really beside you, but that presence is beside you. That presence is in you. Do you feel Saraswati Devi? Some of you may not feel her right now, so I'm going to bring her to you. Okay? This is a secret. I want you to laugh. Just laugh. No purpose. I'll start, okay? I'll share it with you, okay? You can all, and see, you're looking at me, so it's more embarrassing for me. For you, only I'm looking at you. And you don't care that I'm looking at you anyways. So I want us to start with the slow laugh and keep on intensifying. Every time I turn to the right, I'm turning the decibels up, okay? So we've just turned it on. See? All I did was make weird noises and move my body and see how everything changes. This is our nature. If we don't, the person who doesn't know how to laugh at themselves, the whole world laughs at them. But the person who knows how to laugh at themselves, the whole world laughs with them. If I told you to laugh and sat there like this, right? See, you're laughing anyways. Feel Saraswati Devi within you. And how in 36 hours, how much has changed. Who is this Saraswati Devi? And we keep on becoming more and more clear with her, so we love her more. My parents, and I'm sure many of you, did not have love marriages, but had an arranged marriage. My parents, when they got married, did not love each other. Now they do. This is being recorded, so I have to say that. Sheila and I live with them, and they love each other. Everything is fine. But my point is they got to know each other, and the more they got to know each other, the more they came to love each other. So a lot of Medha Suktam is getting to know who Bhagavati Saraswati is, so we come to love her more. And when we come to love her more, we come to love ourselves more. We are the same. When Lord Rama had defeated Ravana, Hanumanji came to him. Lord Rama said, "Who are you?" "Hum aapke hai kaun?" That's what he had said. And at a body level, he said, "I'm your servant." At the mind level, then, I am like you. And at a spirit level, we are the same. The more we come to love Bhagavati, the more we will realize we are the same. Who is she? Surabhihi Vishwarupa. She is of the nature of fragrance. And this fragrance spreads to all. That's a nice name for a perfume, Surabhihi. Right? Oh yeah, Sanskrit, we'll buy it. It's from India, definitely. That this fragrance spreads throughout the universe without exception. It is not that that section has fragrance and this one doesn't. Right? We sometimes have this really twisted notion of all pervasiveness. Either you're all God and I'm not, inferiority complex, or I'm God and you're not, superiority complex. But without exception, this fragrance is throughout this universe. She is Hiranya Varna. Nice name for a person, Hiranya Varna. It can be interpreted two ways. Varna can mean letters. Varna can be face as well, appearance. Hiranya means golden. She is the one that's holding the golden letters. What are the golden letters? Vedas, correct. She is holding those golden letters. And the idea behind this being golden is that our knowledge should shine the same way. It's not she's holding copper letters or brass letters, wooden letters, golden letters. On Facebook, there's a picture of Michael Phelps, and he was wearing all of his gold medals from the Olympics. And underneath, there's pictures of Indians at weddings, and it said, "We have more gold." I think some of you were in that picture. This is not the Hiranyavarna that we're talking about. I saw a picture of a person, an Indian man, who made a shirt out of gold. His whole shirt is made up of gold, you know? Hiranyavarna, and there's an Om there. Like, now he's Saraswati and Devi. But that's how people interpret this. Terrible. Anyways, this knowledge has to be protected like it's gold as well. This is why we take care of our books, correct? That's how much it should be protected. And not just externally, internally too. In the last 4 discourses, I'm sure I've made many mistakes in the way that I've spoken and the thoughts that I've shared. And some may only focus on that. And all of maybe some of the good things I shared in the good ways I've shared, all of that will be forgotten. See, that's not protecting this well. I have a white kirtan. If there was a stain, that's where everyone would be looking. I can show you where the stain is. You thought it was tough eating with a blindfold. It's eating tough wearing white clothes always. Especially when you eat pho. It's all over the place. Anyways, is that we have to, how to protect this knowledge? Focus on how it's helped me change. Even Swami Mitrananda shared with us, after a knowledge session, we should spend the first 5 minutes just internalizing that. Otherwise, we forget 90% of that. And as soon as these discourses end, it's like this explosion of noise, inside, outside. And that's fine, but that internalization is hindered then. Let us not forget this. So we'll forget it eventually, but at least in the short term, let us not forget this. She is Jagati. Jagati means the one who is ever present. God didn't create the world. God is the world. The cause manifests as the effect. That tree didn't create this platform. That tree is the platform. That's why she is ever present. Let us not think that, and we do think this, when I die, my soul will go into another body. Very poetic. But that means the soul is limited. It wasn't in that other body. The soul is infinite. Death is nothing. It is simply a change, like everything is changing. The soul is infinite, which means we are infinite. She is Jagamya, which means the one who is worthy of being sought again and again and again. And we all know this. We've studied so many chapters of Gita so many times because we know that's worthy. And the same goes, if we organize another Devi retreat, some may think, yeah, what else are they going to tell me that I already don't know? Which is true. But are you practicing what you know? What I've learned about my life and in studying and sharing the scriptures, what we need most is inspiration. Inspiration will bring everything else. Without inspiration, I don't want to change. With inspiration, I'm ready to change. Like metal. If we heat up this microphone, I can bend it. But without it, I cannot bend it. It has to be heated up. That's why we have these retreats and study groups and Balavihar, etc. Those people who come to retreat once gain this much inspiration. Come to 10 retreats, go to the study group, study every day. Inspiration is more. Change is more then. So she is worthy of seeking again and again and again. And subtly what this is teaching us, to value values. That is what's being taught. To value values. We all know how to value valuables, to value values. Many people, there's a famous quote, we all know the value of everything, the worth of everything, but the value of nothing. Like fresh air and clean water. How much water we waste in restaurants. Right? They come at the end to fill your glass, put your hand there. You're not going to drink it, tell them not to fill it up then. If I gave everyone an assignment, find me dirty water, it'll be harder to find dirty water than clean water, wouldn't it? But how much value do we give to that? We know the worth of our water bill, but the value of clean water. Thousands die every day in certain parts of the world from dirty water. They're just so thirsty. They just drink that dirty water. Sad. Our children, think of that if our children were in that condition. The theme of what we've just studied is that this knowledge has to be lived every moment. Sanatana Dharma is not a Sunday religion. Today's Sunday, right? Today and every day too. Puja Gurudev was asked, how long should I meditate for? He says, only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Only. Eva. That's it. It is to be lived every moment. This is why in our culture, before my feet hit the ground, pray to Mother Earth. Before I take a bath, Ganga. Before I eat, Brahmarpanam. It's morning time prayer, evening time prayer, Sandhya Vandanam, during the daytime too. It's supposed to happen 3 times, not 2 times. We've cut it down to 2. Soon it will be cut down to 1. Then 0. Always is to remember the divine, and then we can practice the divine. This is a way to live. Sanatana Dharma is not a religion. Hinduism is a term that foreigners gave because they want to put us in this box too. In ism, as they're looking for. This is Sanatana Dharma. It is a way to live. And one more thought on this, what Guruji often shares. Do what you value and value what you do. In other words, that I should find value in all that I do. Those who are working are thinking, I shouldn't have worked. Those who are not working are thinking I should work. Those who are married are thinking about divorce. Divorce are thinking about getting married. Right? Everyone's looking, your grass is greener. Whose grass is greenest? Yours is. Meaning where you, and for me. Everyone's grass is the greenest. Value your own grass and live there. Every moment. The second line in the 3rd paragraph, Supratika, which means the one with the joyful face. Despite her husband always taking from her, she's still smiling. Mother Lakshmi is the same way. Mother Parvati is the same way. They're always asking. She's always giving. Annapurna Devi, correct? Always. Lord Shiva is the one who's asking. See how clear it is? But she's smiling during that time. When our husbands ask us for something, why? What do I get out of it? I'm going to make note of this, We don't forget. Oh, you said this to me 10 years ago. And only the negative. We never forgot the 10 years of how much he or she has said, I love you, cared for you, etc., etc. Right? With a joyful face, she is. And this idea of being joyful, what other option do we have? Does anyone, even if you wrote complaints in that box, do you think anyone actually cares? Seriously, when we write complaints to corporations, do they care? Does anyone care about complaints? Everyone is complaining, but nobody is listening. So, better option is, be joyful. Doesn't matter. So what? Chalta hai. Like that. Urjaswati. You like how we speak Hindi, don't you? When we were in the Vedanta course, then after near the end of the course, Guruji said, okay, I've heard you all speaking English. I'd like to hear your regional languages now. And because we had a lot of public speaking. And that day there was a couple visiting from the States, so Guruji asked me to show them around. And I showed them around and finally took them to Guruji's kutia. And I said, Guruji, if you'd like me to try speaking in Hindi, I can. And he said, we'll see. Next morning, Gujarati, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu all went, and then Guruji says, and our last speaker will be Vivek. I'm shocked. Everyone behind me is more shocked. So I go on stage and I start speaking about how much I love India, how I've come to love, fall in love, rise in love with India. But I never studied Hindi grammar. I never even studied English grammar, let alone. So all I'm doing is translating English words into Hindi and speaking like that. And Guruji was crying. He was laughing so hard. I wish I had more time. I'm going to take it anyways. A man had visited China with his family. And he's visiting this church in China. And he sees this golden telephone. And on the top of the golden telephone it says, if you would like to use this phone, please insert $10,000. So he's perplexed by this, and he found the priest and said, what is this all about? And he says, with this phone you can call God. So he noted it and went back home to the States. Went to Argentina, same scene. Italy, same scene. Indonesia, same scene. Ends up in India, same phone. But this time it says, if you would like to use this phone, please insert 1 rupee. So now, everywhere else it's $10,000, here is 1 rupee. So he finds the Panditji. Panditji, how come I've seen this phone everywhere, but there it's 10,000, here it's $1. How come? And he says, son, don't you know? This is a local call. That's what Bharat is, full out. It is Punya Bhumi. Bharata means the one that revels in light. This is what Bharat is. And this is why I try to take as many people as possible to Bharat so they can experience the love that comes with going deeper. Otherwise we focus on the mosquitoes, the population, the travel time, the heat, the dust. That's just the tip. Like my skin. There's so much more to me than just my skin. There's so many layers of my physiological nature too. She is Urjaswati. Urjaswati means she's a seat of strength. And so much to say, I have to move fast. Payasa Pinvamana, the one who nourishes us with milk. She's actually feeding us. And just like a mother's milk is much more nutritious than anything that a scientist can create, that he created that, in the same way the milk that she can give us can provide much more strength because she's a source of strength than anyone else can. What is the milk that she gives us? It is that thought to want to be better. That is the strength that she gives us. See, this retreat was open to everyone. I put it in the Evachara twice. There's 3,000 people who get the Evachara. And how many others would share it from there? But 75 chose to come because the thought was more clear in your mind. I want to grow. I want to be better. That is the milk that she gives us. That is the grace she offers to us. A mother truly graces a child by being able to feed that child. Sa ma medha jushatam, please bless us. And the theme of this line is honesty. That is the theme that can be pulled out here. Lord Rama would not talk to Hanumanji, would not reveal his true nature till Hanumanji revealed his nature. Lord Rama said, you came here as a Vatu. Why should I tell you my nature when you came on here with the mask, didn't you? When Duryodhana goes to Gandhari, she's able to make his whole body steel other than where he was wearing a leaf. She asked him to come naked. She's never seen him as a child This is his mother. But he comes in with that mask, so he is not as strong. That causes his destruction. Our lack of honesty comes with our spouses, and what I mean by this is the mind games we play with them. We play mind games with our spouses, and Devis are experts in playing mind games. Is anything wrong? No. Is anything wrong? No. How come you're not asking anything is wrong? I just asked you. Let go of these mind games. In other words, take off that mask. This is how to solidify that relationship with one's spouse. And to make this even more intense and acute, surrender to your spouse. Surrender, that I will not tell you anything that I'm not feeling. I will be completely honest with you. I will tell you where I'm going. I will tell you my passwords. We will have the same account. We will travel together. No mask. If I'm unhappy, I will talk to you about it. If you're unhappy, I will be open to it. I will not react. I will listen. We have times of the day where I don't want to hear anything. You can only talk to me at night. Make an appointment. Right? Mind games. Mind games only take people apart. Awesome song by John Lennon about letting go of mind games. We play a lot of mind games between genders. When I think about my life since studying Vedanta, I don't even see gender anymore. With Acharya, it's like Swamiji doesn't have a gender. Vilasniji doesn't have a gender. I hope you don't think I have a gender either. What gender? What movement? Right? We're human beings. Even between animals and us, like we shouldn't even say they're animals and we're human beings. What difference is it? We are the same. There's only this oneness. But when we bring in that separation, we have to play games with each other. This is duality. Let go of these mind games. This is real power, is surrender. If you surrender your spouse, watch how much power you will have over them. One of Hanumanji's qualities is that he can control everyone. How does he control everyone? It's not esoteric, it's because he loves everyone. When someone gives us unconditional love, we want to be controlled by them. Do you I keep bringing it back to myself, please don't take it as arrogantly, but just so real. I went into the Vedanta course treating Swami Tejavananda just as a cool Swami. He's the head of the mission, that's pretty cool. But he gave me love unconditionally. I said no to Brahmacharya Diksha. I was in Washington, D.C., watching cartoons with the Balavira student, and Guruji said, okay, Vivek is going to be an Acharya. I never asked for it. I never earned it. And so I can't help but give my life to him. What else am I supposed to do? One wants to give up. But we try to do it in a different way. We try to do it in a very ulterior motive kind of way. Surrender. They will surrender to you like that. Vibhishana surrendered to Lord Rama. He made him the king. Sugriva surrendered to Lord Rama. He made him the king. It's not like he oppressed them then. He raised them. Our spouses won't have a choice but to reciprocate the same. Let go of those mind games. Here are some of the themes we've covered so far. Review. Prayer is a priority. Change the subject. The role of being strong. Quality time as a family. First 4. Next 4. Know thyself. We focused on that today. Disciplined living. Focused today. Daily living. That's what I was saying. This has to be practiced all the time. And finally, we talked about honesty is the best policy. Be honest. And our last paragraph, we prayed to Agni Devata for what? For Medha, for Praja, for Tejaha. Medha means wisdom. Praja means loving people. I want loving people around me. And Tejaha means brilliance. And this wisdom, loving people, and brilliance is sanctioned around the Vedas. That's already implied. a life according to the sages and scriptures, not a random life. We pray to Indra. Indra, what do we want from you? We want Medha, we want Praja, and we want Indriyam, which means health. See again, we want that intelligence. Here in this context, not loving people, but we want satsang. That's what a real praja is. And we want health. If the body is not healthy, knowledge has less of an impact. And we finally prayed to Surya Bhagavan. We want Medha again. I want intelligence. I want praja. I want people in my life that I can dedicate to. This is the greatness of a sambandha, is I have a forum, an altar, an ideal to dedicate myself to. And I want this power. I want power. Why Agni, Indra, and Surya are mentioned, extrapolating again. Agni is for the speech, so body. Indra, mind. Surya, intellect. That I want a strong body, mind, and intellect because this is the only way I can reach the truth. If I'm weak in body, mind, and intellect, I cannot reach the truth. I cannot be Divya then. I cannot have Shakti. Medha Suktam is a way of getting rid of the trash. This trash is outside of us, this trash is inside of us. We began our discourses focusing on we have forgotten that we are divine. And wherever there's Divya, there has to be Shakti then. We have forgotten that. That is the impurity of mind. Through Medha Suktam, through Mahanarayana Upanishad, we are able to get rid of that trash. In Frederick, we talked about shaucham, purity. Not cleanliness, purity. How to be pure? I should organize my closet. I should give away some of my shoes. I should make sure my spice rack, I'm using those spices. Why? Then I start doing it with my mind. That's where the trash is really harming me, stinking up that divinity that resides within me. Through Medha Suktam, the jiva is able to unite with Brahman. Yes, this is called a Devi retreat, but this is even higher than a Devi retreat. This is a Brahman retreat. Brahman is neutral, by the way. It's for all of us, the young, the old, the rich, the poor, the Canadians, the Americans, the English, even the English. This retreat is to be free. And as one Acharya had put it, it is to transform ourselves from a diva to a Devi. Why be a diva? Who cares? With a Devi, everyone will care because you will care for everyone. The final thought is all of you will be given a cue card. We now completed our discourses and we will soon complete the whole retreat. What are we going to do walking away from here? How are we going to stir that sugar? How are we going to be a Devi in the shoe room, in the lunch area, driving back, at work or with the children tomorrow, forever? On these cue cards, we would like for everyone to write one, and one only, resolution. One resolution that you will make for who? For you. What will I change about myself knowing that my nature, I am the home of Saraswati Devi? When you offer Guru Dakshina, you can offer this resolution at our Agni, that is Gurudev. He will take it to Saraswati Devi. Like a wedding, we need that witness. He will be the witness. Now we're going to spin this a little bit differently too. For those who would like for this to be shared, put your name on it. Because what we'll do is we'll put your name and your resolution into a document. That way it becomes more of a reality then. For those who would like for this to be private, don't write your name on it. Just put it there. And why I'm saying for those who would like this to be public, then you've put the onus on everyone to make sure that you're following through with this. We may email this to you, we may mail you a letter. Maybe the next Devi retreat we'll ask you, hey, did you do this? Like that. Okay? So this resolution. At the 2009 World Workers' Conference, Acharya Darshanaben was introducing the curriculum books that many centers are using now. And this was in India. Most of the people that were there were Indians. And Balavihara in India is very different than Balavihara in North America. And many had this resistance to using these curriculum books. And Guruji found out about this. He received this message. And so one of his final thoughts in that World Workers' Conference, Balavihara conference was, find ways to make this happen. It is easy to find ways not to practice this knowledge from the sages and scriptures. Find ways to make this happen.